37 general chapters. That means that we are already organized 36 general chapters. So I'd like to introduce you to all these general chapters. There are too many, so we choose just a few. I guess that one of the most important was the chapter in 1926. It was the largest assembly of the congregation at that time. Here we have the list of all the participants. Why is so important this general chapter? Because it was the chapter of the centenary of the congregation. After 100 years of the foundation, they organized this general chapter. So it was a very important event for the congregation. It was important because this is the greatest renew of the constitutions and rules. They renew completely the constitutions and rules according to the canon law, the new code of the canon law. The first one, general chapter. Later, they call it general chapter. It was just the first meeting of the first few Oblates in 1818, when they read together in October the rule. The founder has already prepared the first edition of Constitutions and Rules, and this is the first edition that he prepared in October 1818. You know, this is the first edition of the Constitutions and Rules. It was written by the founder himself. This is the handwriting of the founder. And so in October, at the end of October, this is the first group of Oblates, not yet called Oblates, but just missionaries. They read together this document, Constitutions and Rules. And they said, do you want to approve these Constitutions and Rules? And they said, no. Why? You introduced the vows. You said at the beginning, no vows. You will be united only by the most tender charity, no vows. Why you introduce here some vows, not yet the vows of poverty? So anyway, they approved these Constitutions and Rules, and this was the first general chapter. Even though they didn't call general chapter, it was just a meeting starting from this moment. The new congregation started, the Society of Missionary of Provence. So during the fourth general chapter, after the approval, the pontifical approval of the Constitutions and Rules in 1826, they said, we have not yet written nothing about the first chapter. So in the Acts of the chapter of 1826, we have the insert of the first general chapter, Acts of chapter 1818. It was written by Father Suzanne, who was the general secretary. 1826 is one of the major general chapters because it was after the approval from the Pope of the Constitutions and Rules. So the Missionary of Provence became the Missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate. The journal of Suzanne explained what happened during the chapter, at the end of the chapter. It was so beautiful because at the end of the Mass, they went back to the sacristy And they started to embrace each other, say, finally, we are really friends, we are really friends. And they even started to cry. They are so happy to be the Oblates of Mary Immaculate. Here we have the signature of this general chapter. So nice to see the members of the congregation, Jean-Carl, Marcoux, Depuis, Tampier, Courtesse, Mazenot, Suzanne, all these members. Now we go from the first general chapters to the last one. In 1966, after the Vatican Council, they decided, because the Council asked this, to renew completely the constitutions and rules. That chapter was during a very long period, 2 months. Never we had a chapter of 2 months. And during these 2 months, they rewrote the constitutions and rules. Here we have the acts, the minutes. You can see the 2 volumes. So every day we have what happened. So they used to do a hard work. Wednesday, February 16 in the afternoon. What each member said something. So everything is recorded. So if you want to know really what happened during the chapter, day by day, intervention by intervention, here 2 volumes. (1980). Again, look at this. Day by day, all the interventions. Why is so important this general chapter of 1980? Because from this chapter, the new constitutional rules that we have today, they came up. So this general chapter prepared the constitutions and rules that we have in our hands now. And all the work that they did is here. 4 volumes of all the reports, the commission, précapitulaire. So they did a lot of work. Here again, we have all the material of this general chapter. According to me, this is the most important, the fourth most important chapters in our congregation, apart the chapter of 1926, the first one, 1818, when the Missionary of Provence, they started their life. 1826, with the approval of the constitutions and rules, when they became the Oblates of Mary Immaculate. The chapter after the General Vatican II Council, because it was a shock for the congregation. And then finally, 1980, with the last edition of Constitutions and Rules. Later, we have more simple changes of the Constitutions and Rules, but the main part remained always the same. So, thanks to this last chapter, 1980, we have our Constitutions and Rules today.